Hello, viewers. I warmly welcome you all to the CSR Universe's latest and special segment called Women for Women. It is an exclusive dialogue where we will gather insights and perspectives from women in position and on how they are and how they can bring about a positive change in the lives of the women who belong to the most underprivileged strata of society. The CSR industry and its stakeholders, be it NGOs, implementation agencies, corporates, even the government, they have played a catalytic role in uplifting and emancipating women from the shackles of discrimination and inequality. However, the industry still has a long way to go to bring about a positive change and a complete overhaul of the situation. Moreover, every year we celebrate 8th of March as the International Women's Day. But how far are we from reaching that milestone where we can freely and truly believe that women will rightfully take their place as stakeholders in the truest sense of the term? And we would like to begin our new segment with Ms. Shobhal Singh, who is the founder and CEO of Suryauday, an NGO which has been working for underprivileged women and children in the health and education sectors since the past 17 years. The organization has been organizing free medical camps, distribution of sanitary napkins, free child education by sponsoring underprivileged girls, and lately they have been involved with Anganwadi sector, where it is looking after the nutrition issues of pregnant women and children. And Ms. Singh is also the coordinator for Poshan Abhiyan for the Jaipur district. A hearty welcome to you, Ms. Shobhal. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruchika. Thank you.
Okay, Shobhal, so the first thing that I wanted to ask was, since you were working for this particular community, the women and especially the children, how do you think social sector stakeholders like you, the NGOs, can expedite government initiatives and policies that primarily focus on women?
In fact, that's a very good question because that's what I've been given in charge of, and this is a central scheme, government central scheme, which is you have portion which is coming from the center as well as state, and they are distributing in the Anganwadi centers to the lactating mothers and the pregnant mothers and even the children which are aged below 6. And this is an initiative which is being done by the government, but it is not being implemented well, I would say, because if there aren't any checks and balances, how it goes, they feel that the things are reaching in time and things are happening at the ground level, but that is not actually what happens if there is no person or no organization or nobody who's looking into what is happening in the ground field area. So that is what I've been doing through my NGO, which is going to all these Anganwadi centers and finding out whether they are getting their portion. Portion means, the food which is being given by the government to these ladies and children, and is it reaching them in time? So that is where it was lacking. The government had the schemes on, but it was not reaching the people in time. I mean, this is about women's scheme again. So it was not reaching the pregnant women in time. So what Suryauday was doing was going and checking in each and every Anganwadi center and finding out whether the registered women and children are getting their nutrition or not. Yes.
All right.
So that
And in this, what do you, yes, sorry, you were saying something?
no, that is what I am saying. That is how the collaboration in any of the NGOs, wherever they are, they can kind of
Right.
work on the government schemes, which there are so many of them. They just have to take hold of the schemes and find out about them, and then make sure that it reaches to its ultimate destination. I would say wherever it is supposed to be reaching, it should be reaching the
Right.
people and the masses. So whichever mass we are looking at.
So, in return, what do you think should be the role of the local governments in assisting an organization like Suryauday? And what kind of changes would you like to see in terms of government legislation policies, especially for women?
See, what I've seen, and I'm not particularly talking about Rajasthan. So we have state government, which is a different government, and center is we have a different government. So what I feel that they should
Right.
be working in tandem, and whichever party is in power,
Right.
they have to take the lead, because they are the ones who are calling, they are the ones who are taking decisions. So they have to kind of,
Right.
the red tapeism which is happening, that should be avoided. So in our
Mm-hmm.
case here in Jaipur, what I could figure out what the problem is and has been, is that they have an issue with the transport dealer who has to get these nutrition products to the centers, but the delays on the part of the transportation
Right.
agency. So why is the government not looking into that and doing something about it, so the
Mm-hmm.
things reach in time? Because they have the grains, they have the
Right.
dals which has to be distributed, but it doesn't take place in time because there is an issue with the
Right.
transportation per person. So they need to do something about that, and that will happen only by the state government. So it has to work in tandem. The governments have to work in tandem, and the policy should be changing.
All right.
They should be very particular about these schemes. You can make schemes, but then it has to reach the public, it has to
Right.
reach the women, it has to reach whatever the schemes have been made, have to be implemented in time. Otherwise it makes no sense. You implement and you have as many schemes, you can float them, but if it is not reaching people, then it makes
Hmm.
no sense. Yes, Ruchika.
All right. So, talking about legislation, the government is also mulling, increasing the marriageable age of women from 18 to 21. So, what do you think will be the impact?
Yes,
Yeah, you are,
this
yeah,
is a
please share.
decision which is coming up, and in fact, yesterday only I made a video on that on my behalf, that I was thanking the
Mm-hmm.
government. I've been going to these small anganwadis and the slum areas, and I've been talking to the girls when I'm
Right.
distributing sanitary napkins, and that's what, when I speak to them, then they say
Right.
no. Now we have finished our studies, because now we are 18 and now our parents are looking for us to get married.
Ah.
So that is what, in fact,
Hmm.
I told them, do you know that the age has been increased? Now it's not 18, it's 21. Why don't you further your studies? You should go ahead and complete your whatever
Hmm.
you want to do.
Hmm.
So then there was a girl who just came up and she said, no, I'm actually doing a computer course, and my brother has done it in the family, and even I'm very keen to do that, and my brother is guiding me for it.
Hmm.
I said, that's so nice. I think that is what is very essential. That, and this has been a very, very good decision, I would say, that now girls have that much time also in hand, so-called legally, that
Hmm.
they can kind of do whatever they want to. And the societal pressure and the pressure from the family, because most of the times it's not the parents, it's the society which is pressurizing that the girl has become old enough for you to find a suitor and kind of get her married. So at least till 21 everybody is
Hmm.
relaxed, even in village circumstances and even in slum
Hmm.
areas, that they will not kind of look for
Hmm.
grooms that early. So that's a fabulous
Right.
decision which has come up.
All right, but Shobal, you were saying that the children that you were talking to, the girls that you were talking to, were not aware of this. So, what do you think are the challenges while you raise this kind of awareness, and what do you think should be done to, cover this gap and reach out to the right people, and make them aware of their rights and the policies that the government's rolling out.
So even in fact, about vaccination, about this also, about the age limit, age factor, even about the vaccination drive. There were so many girls who would come up and I'd ask them, have you taken your vaccinations? And I'm talking about 15 plus
Right.
kids. And they were like, no, we've not. Then I asked them, why not? They said, no, we don't want to. We think we can take some time. I said, no, but then you should, because that's very important, especially these viruses which are mutating. You will get infected and you may land up in bigger trouble. So everybody is taking the shot, and this thing has been implemented. Why don't you take your vaccination? So what I feel that in these slum areas, the girls and even the boys, right, just the girls, they don't know about these implementations which are happening. They need to be told about it. So there, we need people, we need organizations, we need people who have to go door to door and tell them that this is what it is. Why don't you go? And they don't even know that in so many places the vaccinations are free and things like that. They have to be made aware about it, because this vaccination thing, which became a mandatory issue when they tagged it with Aadhaar card for people
Right.
aged, elderly people. But now we don't have Aadhaar. Everybody doesn't have Aadhaar card for these children. They don't think
Right.
that it's important.
Right.
So even for Poshan, even
Mm-hmm.
essential topics, I mean, you need to there are so many schemes which are there which need to be told to them,
Mm.
which they are not aware.
Right.
So I think so many schemes, even the state scheme, even the government's central scheme, there are so many of
Mm.
them which they are not aware about. So I guess that's most important, that we need people, we need NGOs,
Mm.
non-government organizations who should come up and
Mm.
at least do the campaign work of informing them and generating awareness. Even hygiene issues, I would say. There's so many hygiene issues. There are so many
Mm.
things which happen because of low hygiene, and we have this virus also running where we keep telling people wash your hands, wear your mask. But
Mm.
then
Mm.
the people from that strata need to know about it. We educated people know, but then what about the people who are staying in the slum areas? They need to
True.
be
True.
made more aware of these things, which we talk about in general, and we are like discussing it in on TVs and on big platforms. But what's happening at ground reality, we need to know that
Right.
also. Even if you go to villages, you would see people aren't wearing masks. They would sit together,
Hmm.
they would
Hmm.
be in a group, but they will not wear the mask. They need to be told about the
Hmm.
importance of wearing the mask. I mean, you can be still continuing with your daily work, but wear your mask when you're with people. So these small things matter. They just need to be told about it.
So, Shobhal, what is Suryauday doing in terms of empowering women? Are you also looking at raising awareness through your campaigns, through your initiatives? And how do you actually deal with the challenges when it comes to the patriarchal setup of the society? What are your suggestions? What exactly do you do to,
So
turn
I'll
it
take
around?
at a time. So initially, when you asked me about the camps and the awareness thing, so I've just taken up the awareness about sanitary napkins. I've been going to
Right.
various schools in the slum areas, and I've been telling them about the importance of using sanitary napkins and not to use cloth, because that again is a hygiene issue. And when you don't do things in that level, then obviously then you're ending up having medical issues, you're having UTIs, which I told them. I went to these
Hmm.
schools and I
Hmm.
told the girl that if you don't do this is what you will end up in. So you need to be more aware about the repercussions.
Right.
Maybe now you're okay. And then I told them that you should tell others also. There may be so many other girls who I may not be, reaching up till them. But then if I'm telling you, you can kind of pass on this message to them, that this is the reason why and you need to tell them why they need to wear sanitary napkins, which is to avoid problems which are health related. And then you have UTI problems, then you have further problems. So to kind of stem it at the bud, you need to be aware again. So it's again a awareness camp. And even about good touch and bad touch, people who
Hmm.
you need to be aware about that, what is a genuine touch and what is not. So if they are told the
Right.
difference between the two, then they can raise their voice, they can at least share it with someone, and they can tell them that this is what it is. So what do I do about it? They can share their personal problems.
Talking about the challenges, so can you tell me about some challenges that you might have faced while, implementing your programs, or when it comes to the patriarchal setup of the society, the infrastructure, even in the family dynamics?
So that's a very good question. Now I would talk about the Parshads. I mean, that's a very funny thing, but I must share this with you that I'm dealing with the Parshads also, which are the local councillors of each area. And these
Mhm.
women Parshads, so called, I mean, they're obviously elected as women Parshad, but when you call them and when you talk to them, it's either their husbands or the sons or the brothers answering the calls and taking a
Right.
decision by them.
Right.
So I was like, but isn't this so and so's, she's the one who's the Parshad. So they're like, no, she's at home. We are here and we are doing the work. So I'm like, but I need to talk to her. So you need to be very emphatic about it. As if I'm there at the field, if I'm a woman, I need to talk to a woman, and I want to talk to the woman Parshad, who would be,
True,
maybe a
true.
Sunita or maybe a Jyoti, but I need to talk to her because she's the Parshad. It's not Ramji, or it's not somebody else. You may be kind of taking the decision, but I need to talk to the women who's been elected. So that is where, the difference. And what I feel, that more ladies, if they come up, if they are out in the open, then that gives benefit to other women, because then when they see other women coming up, then they feel,
Yeah.
okay, if she can do it, so can I. But then if there are limited women out, obviously then other women feel, I mean, there are too many men, I don't want to be amongst the men, so rather I would sit at home and
Mm.
let my husband take the decision, or let my son take the decision. So that's most important. Patriarchal society, all right, but we need to change that. And I guess more and more women leaders have to come up and have to give support to each other.
All right. So, what are the key intervention areas for women empowerment that not only NGOs but even corporates should look at? What are your suggestions?
So I think corporates should come up, and they should teach these motivational programs and leadership programs in these slum areas. They should take up this cause, and they should motivate more women to come in outer space. I mean, okay, fine, they're doing their household work, but if they have this in them that they want to do something outside home environment, they should be motivated, and they should be given examples of that so and so is out and doing this kind of work, which kind of inspires them, so that they can ask the corporate people who come and kind of guide them. So it's something like a counseling which you do for young adults for the career. Maybe you can, because anytime you can make your career. It's not that you're this old that you cannot do. Why not? If you can do something, if there is something in
Right.
you can always lead by example.
Shobal, can you tell me more about the areas you are working and what has been the impact? If you can give me certain figures, the number of people you have reached out to, the number of women you have reached out to. If you can give me some figures, some numbers of data on
So I've really not worked on the data like that, but we have 3,000 Anganwadis in Jaipur itself, and I've been looking after, and I'm talking about rural and urban slum areas, Anganwadis in Jaipur district. So and each Anganwadi has around 3 women working, and they are covering around 1,000 people in that area. So that is the kind of coverage they have around their center. So if I'm just talking about just Anganwadis in Jaipur itself, I'm covering
Hmm.
so many people. So if you can kind of, calculate in that way. And earlier I've been doing all these medical camps for women for their
Hmm.
health awareness things, and then going to villages also. So I've not really taken account of that, frankly. But yes, more than 20,000 people have, or maybe much more. I mean, even if you look at Anganwadis, say around 500 Anganwadis also, and 1,000 or 15. I mean, that's just the number 1,000 which we are technically seeing according to the census. But we know there are so many more who are not even
Hmm.
there recorded. So in a given bus, say it's for taking care of 100 people, then we have so many Anganwadis. So you can just, the number would gallop to say around 40, 50,000. And and what I would say is that a lot of women have, after seeing Suryauday, they have been motivated, and they've opened a lot of their own kind of NGOs, and they're working in their own ways, maybe a small way, but then that's fine as far as you're doing something for the society,
Right.
as well for yourself. I feel that's a good motivation.
Shobal, can you share a story where you have made a major impact on the life of, even a single woman? And if you would like to share it with us, please.
So I'd gone to this Anganwadi, and I was distributing biscuits to the kids there. So there was this mother-in-law who walked up to me and she said that I have a daughter-in-law who's MA, and I would like her to start working. So I said, but you're a mother-in-law, and would you like your daughter-in-law? And she's just like 1 year married. So I said, would you like your daughter-in-law to come out of the house and work so soon? Because just been 1 year of marriage. So she said, yes, yes, absolutely. I would like her to work, and she's an MA, and she must go out and she must do something. So then she, in fact, got her daughter-in-law to,
Mm.
and she said, why don't you, put her somewhere or employ her, or maybe employ her in one of the Anganwadis. So I said, absolutely, I'll do that. And then she got a daughter also along, and then she got so many other women. So why don't you place them, and why don't you give them jobs? I said, absolutely, I'll work, I'll do my best. So I, just to pacify, I told her, okay, fine, you tell your daughter-in-law she can work with me in Suryauday, and then kind of we'll find some work for her, and then we'll try to figure out how to give jobs to other women also. So I didn't want to dissuade her because she had come with so much of hope. So I said, okay, fine, I'll tell her to kind of do my records and keep my records, and wherever I'm going she can take all the details.
That's
So
really
then
nice.
she's very happy about it. So I said, fine, that's what we will do. And that's how I feel that, yes, more and more women I'm meeting, more and more they are interested in coming out and working. And the best part is that the mother-in-laws are telling me that they should work. So that's definitely a big change, Ruchika.
That's what I think, Shobal, where corporates can play a big role in, providing skills and
Yes,
training for
right.
aspirational jobs, not just, becoming a beautician or just doing a handicraft work, but something more than that. So, with that, what do you think, how should, social sector stakeholders should actually sensitize each other and the public in general so that we can move
Yes,
forward?
absolutely. Equally, men have to be responsible, the spouses. They need to give space to their wives, and even brothers should come up and encourage their sisters, and the fathers should encourage their daughters. So I think everybody is coming together and making a whole team, and then pushing the matter. So obviously it'll have a major impact, and people would see this as a positive thing. Then actually, equating that women, if they're outside, they're giving a negative term to it, that they are very ambitious, which is seen in a very negative way. If you talk about men being ambitious, that's a good thing. But if you talk about women being ambitious, that is seen as a negative
Yes.
quality, which should not be. Why should they talk about women? And I feel there's so many women who are not very happy with women, taking a center stage. That should also go. The women need to understand that they have their own spaces, and they are maybe good at something else. But then, unless you don't give hand to each other, how would you expect anyone to make a difference and do something which they are planning to do, or where they are wanting to do something and achieve something in life? They need support from all over. Instead of pulling the person down, you need to lift them up. You need to give them a hand to do what they want to do and be supportive.
So, Shobal, thank you so much. I think
So
we'll
I
conclude
said
over
that,
here.
thank you so much for calling me over, and it was a privilege to be here with you all. Thank you so much.